What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the all-new 2026 Honda Passport. This one is the Trailsport Elite, finished off in the sunset orange with an MSRP a little over $54,000. Big shout out to Flo Honda of Statesville for providing this brand new Passport for today's video. Check out their website, linked down below. Would you buy this over the new Toyota 4Runner? Comment below. Let's get right into the 2026 Passport. Underneath the hood of the all-new 2026 Honda Passport Trailsport Elite, you're going to find a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated 6-cylinder engine. This V6 makes 285 horsepower with 262 pound-feet of torque. Paired to a 10-speed automatic with an all-wheel drive system, curb weight is going to be around 4,700 pounds. It also has an 18.5 gallon fuel tank. You can expect 18 miles per gallon in the city with 23 out on the highway. Towing capacity is also going to be just at 5,000 pounds. The overall length is 191.5 inches with a wheelbase at 113.6. Width is 79.4 and height is 73.1 inches. This all-new Passport Trailsport is also pretty off-road capable with approach angle at 24 degrees. You have a nice off-road style for the tires. Ground clearance is going to be 8.3 inches and then departure angle is going to be right around 23.1 degrees. Moving on to the styling with the all-new 2026 Honda Passport. This has a really rugged design. Kind of reminds me of the old Honda Element, but in a much more modern appearance with a way better style overall. You can see a really cool set of LED headlights. You got the amber running light too, triple beam for those LEDs, and then a gloss black upper grille. You're going to see the Trailsport badge, and I like how the orange in the Trailsport colors match this particular spec super well. You have a nice trim piece in the hood. Massive Passport logo stamped into the plastic. You just got a little bit of plastic for this front bumper with LED fog lights. There's parking sensors all around, some silver accents. Active grille shutters, nice openings throughout all three of the grills, provide tons of cooling, a little bit of a skid plate underneath, and then the metal tow hooks finished off in the orange. Really nice and boxy up in front. I think it's pretty rugged, looks really cool. You have some sharp lines in the hood leading towards the windshield. And then wrapping around, you're gonna get more of this plastic material for the front fender. I like how it has some cool contours to make it a bit more rugged, and then a nice set of 18-inch wheels. These are the standard wheels. You can get two different available ones as well. Have a nice two-tone to them. You have more of this plastic material all down below to protect the bodywork. A few sharp body lines throughout the side, and then gloss black on the mirror caps. We have an integrated turn signal, side view camera, and then gloss black for all the door handles. There's going to be a little bit of black trim throughout the side windows and a nice set of roof rails with a panoramic roof up on top. I do like how the rear window is kind of small with the body color cutting in between. And then you have that plastic material that fades into the roof rails themselves as well as that rear spoiler. So it kind of gives it a unique style. For the overall side profile, once again, super boxy. Some people commented saying it looks very similar to the Ford Bronco Sport. At this angle, I can totally see that. However, this is a substantially larger vehicle and obviously a higher trim level and class. That sharp body line makes its way all the way into the rear, leading towards those red taillights. And then in back, I like how the rear end is super flat. Everything just cuts all the way straight down with no massive bumper protruding. You have some small mud flaps, more of the plastic material, all of the parking sensors, and then more of that silver gloss trim. We have a hands-free tailgate. You have all your connections for the trailer hitch, more sensors, Passport written out, Trailsport badge once again, and then more sharp body lines with the blacked out logos. Has a nice look. I think it really does come together to give it a rugged appearance, also with a little bit of style to be fitting of its price tag. Taking a look at the key fob, we have lock, unlock, tailgate release, remote start, Honda badge on the back. Keeping it locked and the key fob in my pocket, you're gonna see power folding side mirrors. Just by grabbing the door, everything will unlock. This one's gonna get the black leather interior with all the orange accents throughout it. On the door panel, you just have some soft touch material throughout the center, nice padded armrest. I like this geometric texture design for the interior trim and a very ergonomic design for the handle. You have memory seating, all of your basic controls as expected, and then a lot of storage all throughout this interior. You're gonna get the Trailsport logo on these all-weather floor mats as well as power controls, and then more of this contrast stitching with perforations throughout the seats. You can see some smooth leather, more of the contrast, a nice stripe, and then Trailsport is blacked out up on the headrest. For the steering wheel, you have a nice sporty 3-spoke with the leather wrapped. heated button, and then more Trailsport badges, and of course, nice contrast stitching. And then now inside the 2026 Honda Passport Trailsport, keeping my foot on the brake, let's go ahead and fire it up. Two multimedia screens are gonna roar to life. Got the Honda badge right in the center, and then over on this left side, we have some volume controls, Bluetooth and audio controls. Then we have more controls for cruise control on the right side. We have two different roller wheels. So with that on the screen, we can scroll through quite a few things. You can get some audio information, customized display, and adjust how you want to hide and show different things. For the right screen, of course, you can see a couple messages that are going to pop up, brightness settings, and then you have all sorts of cool information that will pop up. Maintenance, seat belts, all-wheel drive, torque display, which is all very nice to see. We have paddle shifters for the transmission, stock on the right side for all the windshield wipers, stock on the left for the headlights and turn signals. We do have the engine temperature on the far left and then gas over on the far right. You're gonna get a heated windscreen. We also have the power liftgate, some soft touch material and stitching, gloss material around the air vents, and then a little bit of soft touch all throughout the dash. There is extra storage up in front, quite large for a couple cell phones. There's also a nice texture to it. And then you have the black material with more of that contrast stitching. For the multimedia display, basically what you're used to seeing on a lot of Hondas. You're gonna have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, the Google integration is all in this. We have different tiles you're able to easily toggle, touchscreen buttons on the far left to easily go through everything. More apps you're able to go through, all sorts of different things as expected. Got the full screen navigation as well. And then on the far right side, you can configure a couple different shortcuts that are gonna pop up with smaller menus. From here, if we go ahead and put it into reverse, you have all your camera systems. We have a top-down view, rear view camera as well. You can make a couple adjustments. And then when you do toggle your different drive modes, which are down here, you can see we have some normal street modes, and then we have snow, trail, and other off-roads. When you're in the trail mode, you have that nice front view now, top-down, along with showing how your tires are gonna be operating. Going back into park, and then we can exit out and go back into your standard modes. We also are gonna get a tow mode for this car. You have the Passport name written out, a couple air vents, physical climate controls are all down below, fan speed in the center. You have dual zone temperature, you can easily sync everything, air conditioning, and then rear, you're able to make their adjustments as well. Heated and ventilated seating, all the different zones, very simple to operate everything, a couple plugs and storage, and then wireless phone charging. More of that cool texture and then the geometric pattern throughout the center. Different gear selectors, and then down below, once again, those drive modes, downhill assist, the auto start stop, and a brake hold. You're gonna see more of the contrast stitching along this nice padded armrest and a massive bucket in here for tons of storage. On the far right side, massive glove box as expected. And then one last look at the interior. Honestly, this looks really nice. Everything you touch feels pretty good, has a good layout, feels like a modern car without being too crazy or complicated, great use of materials. And then once again, that massive panoramic sunroof. You're also gonna see a sunglass holder up above, all of those controls, and then a very simple basic mirror. Moving on to the rear seat space, you are able to lock and unlock it from these back doors too. Back here, you're gonna get a manual sunshade and then all these same materials throughout it. We have the soft touch material with the contrast stitching, tons of storage as expected, and then the same seats with the smooth and perforated leather. You have more contrast stitching. This can seat 3 people. We also have an armrest and cup holders in the center. You're gonna see your air vents. We have heated seats, all the climate controls, and then different plugs as well. Then you're gonna get extra storage on the backs of these, which is definitely a great touch. And then the lever up above, we can pull this, and that's gonna fold nice and flat for extra cargo into the back. So hopping into the backseat with the Honda Passport, this is a pretty practical family car. If you're buying this SUV, obviously you're probably gonna have extra people in it. And at 5'11", sitting back here, I have a lot of headroom, like 5 or 6 inches. Knee room is fantastic behind my driver's seat at my height. The seats, they support my leg really well. There's no extra recline or anything, so you're just kind of stuck in this position. But honestly, it's at a good position to where I feel nice and comfortable. So this would be a great family vehicle for sure. Middle seat even has a lot of space. Car seats are gonna fit really well. So definitely a great option for the family. Moving on to the cargo space, you can just tap the button on the key fob. You're also gonna get one underneath the Honda logo, and we have that power operation. Now with the second row in the up position, you're gonna get around 44 cubic feet of cargo volume. This is pretty roomy. I like these openings too with this cool design for extra storage. You have that on both sides with that Trailsport logo. extra cubby storage space as well. So this is definitely super roomy overall with lots of space. We can open up the whole floor. You have a spare tire, and independently you can actually open up this left side. So if I get these out of the way, you can just lift this open and we have a really easy access point, which is great for cold items or groceries or something. This is definitely a really good grocery getter too. From here, if you have the arm length, you can grab these levers and fold these seats nice and flat. That's gonna almost double the cargo space to 82.5 cubic feet. So certainly a super practical off-roader. Definitely nice to see how much space. This has a very squared off exterior, which translates to such a roomy interior. Then we have this button up above. We can easily close everything down. And then taking one last look through the inside, everything is gonna be nice and flat for tons of cargo space, as well as the nice back seat space for people. All right, so setting off now in the 2026 Honda Passport. So this is an all new vehicle from the previous generation. I feel like they really did quite a lot to it just to make it nice and rugged, but also actually kind of luxury feeling. So being the Elite and the Trailsport, you kind of have the top trim for luxury as well as the off-road all in one. And, you know, mid to low 50s is kind of where you would expect this to be in relation to other cars from this kind of size point, things like that. It drives pretty good. Now this is kind of a bad road, so I can hear a little bit of the road noise and things like that. But overall, the suspension's smooth and comfortable. These seats are really comfortable. I feel really nice in here. It's roomy. You have a huge windshield. You can easily see through. This tablet style multimedia screen doesn't get in the way. I can see the hood above it, so it's not bulky at all as a driver. Side mirrors are a little on the small side, I've noticed. However, looking over your left and right shoulder, honestly, you really don't have any blind spots, so pretty easy to overall see around. The steering feel is nice. I like the leather on it. And then the feel itself, there's a little bit of the body roll if you kind of go quickly. Again, this is more off-road focused, so it's gonna have a softer suspension to be able to tackle off-road. Now with that, if we go to trail mode, which is a pretty good kind of universal off-pavement drive mode, you know, obviously we're not gonna go crazy off-roading, but I've seen these hit the trails. And of course with the cameras, ground clearance, the all-wheel drive, these are actually pretty capable. Now it's not gonna be a hardcore rock crawler, so if you really want that, you know, if you're okay with sacrificing a lot, a Jeep Wrangler would be a way to go. But a Toyota 4Runner would give you better like off-road capabilities, but you're gonna sacrifice a little bit of the on-road capabilities. This one in trail mode, you have the pitch and roll sensors in the front, as well as elevation, which is a really cool touch. But this is gonna be a little bit more streetable than a Toyota 4Runner, which is a pretty nice touch. And you have the V6, which people love, people do love, just a simple V6. So Honda is giving that to you. I was expecting this to have a 4-cylinder, maybe even a CVT. So the fact that we have a real transmission and a naturally aspirated engine, I think is gonna be a big plus for this 2026 Honda Passport. Also, the interior materials, it may not come off on camera that nice, but everything does feel pretty good with the soft touches, the real leather on the seats, and everything else. It's a nice interior. You can get this with a brown interior. I recently filmed a black one with a brown interior, and it was really nice. I loved the two-tone. That might look a little funny with this orange exterior paint color, but overall, I love how you can get some really cool specifications for this new Passport. There are a lot of logos. People commented there's a logo everywhere you look, Trailsport or Passport. So Honda's letting you know what the heck you just bought. Other than that though, I think the tech works well. The screen, I like Honda screens. I think the tiles are easy to use while driving. It's not really complicated. It's an easy reach for me at least. And it's in a view to where I can look at this, but still totally see what's going on in front of me. So my honest thoughts with the 2026 Honda Passport. So this is all new for the 2026 model year. I know I'm filming this in the beginning of 2025, so kind of crazy that they're already unleashing their newest product. Overall, I kind of like the blend because I am a Toyota 4Runner fan. I think that's always been a really good SUV for the rugged aspects. However, at least in the past, you know, the downfalls are it's not that good on the road. It's way better than a Jeep Wrangler by far. But, you know, you're gonna sacrifice a little bit. And then now with the new 4Runner, kind of a plastic interior, turbo engines, turbo hybrids, which I do like the turbo hybrid a lot. However, I'm not the only person in the market to buy something like this. There are tons of people who don't want a 4-cylinder, regardless of how good even the hybrid version is. And at the end of the day, you can't argue with that. You can't argue with a V6, a naturally aspirated, robust engine that's been around forever. Honda builds a solid motor. So this car with the Passport, you have that kind of simplicity and what a lot of buyers just like about older school rugged SUVs with a normal transmission and engine. And this one, of course, just hitting a couple bumps and everything, it still has the capabilities to go off-roading. Now, you're not going to be lifting this, going rock crawling, throwing 35s on it or anything like that. But if you're doing a trail, a camping trip, a mountain road that, you know, you run out of pavement, you're on gravel or something, this is going to be perfectly fine for the majority of people who are going to be going off pavement. And with the cargo space it has to offer, the ground clearance, all the drive modes, this is going to be a really good adventure-packed SUV. If you have a family, kids, pets, or something like that, you want to go on an adventure with everybody, you have the space to throw the kids, the dog, and all your gear in the back, or even do a nice roof setup, probably do a rooftop tent even. So this is a really good adventurous SUV without sacrificing the on-road capabilities. It drives comfortable and smooth. It's not the fastest thing out there. It's not the most confident SUV out there. However, this isn't a sport SUV. You know, this has got that off-road capability, and it drives normal. It drives like a typical crossover, basically, kind of like a Honda CR-V. It's a little bit bigger, wider, a bit more rugged for sure feeling, comparing it to a CR-V. And the drivetrain, of course, being a 6-cylinder, does give it more of that robust, old-school feeling. So this is kind of that SUV that takes the step back in what we loved from the early 2000s in a rugged SUV, but it modernizes it very well to where it's capable on road to be your daily, decent gas mileage, not the greatest, I guess, but you have the modern tech. It's easy to use. It looks good. You have old-school things like physical controls versus everything in the screen, but you still have a nice fancy screen up there, camera systems, and just the space to feel like you're in something roomy. I'm not the biggest fan of the jumbo SUVs. They're a little too big. I don't need the space. So this is something that, you know, could work. This is fine for a small family. You have the trailer hitch with the capabilities to tow a decent boat. You know, if you got a 24-footer, you're probably not going to tow it with this, but if you have a smaller boat closer to a 20-footer, you could handle that. Dirt bike trailer, four-wheeler, stuff like that. You know, this is a good recreation vehicle without being too crazy in price or size. Now, price point, mid to low 50s, not a cheap car, of course. However, you know, when you look at vehicles like this, that's kind of what you're going to expect, especially when you do drive this and ride in it. It's a nice interior. Everything you touch is nice. There's real materials throughout it. It's not just shiny, crappy plastic. So I feel like they've done a great job just making this an all-around good value for what you're paying for. I don't really see anything that drastically jumps out as anything I don't like about it. I think it seems to kind of have everything. It drives good. It looks pretty cool. It's a little, I could say almost 2000s-ish looking. So for being brand spanking new, I wouldn't say it's cutting edge with the styling. But then again, most off-road style SUVs are not cutting edge. In general, they are more basic, boxy, and kind of simple. So I think Honda has taken that approach to this, to where they're giving you something cool, new, and exciting, but giving you the retro style and some of the 20-year-ago tech that people actually really, really like. But there is the 2026 Honda Passport, the Trailsport Elite. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for plenty more content to come. And a big shout out once again to Flo Honda of Statesville for providing this new Passport for today's video. Check their website linked below, and I'll see you all in the next video.